All right, welcome to Sales Development Secrets. My name's Steve. I've got with me today Whitney Lofgren, and like usual, I'm horrible at introductions. So
It's fine. Most people
let's
would not would not usually see this face when being introduced as Whitney. So like it's probably a surprise to most. So I just
or hear the voice.
there are
By the
some
way,
of us out there.
yeah. So tell me a little. Tell us something like cool about yourself.
Yeah. I've been in sales development and in the industry for about just a little over 10 years. I'm from Maine, really in the sticks of Maine. I was from a town called Poland, Maine. If you're ever from the Northeast region, Poland Spring Water, that's kind of my hometown. But other than that, somehow was able to find a way in tech sales, despite being in Maine and not a huge populated area, by meeting some of the right people. And yeah, I don't know. One of the cool things about me, I just came back from a trip from Italy for the past couple, I'd say just a little over a week, where we spent some time in Rome and Florence and Milan, and it was the first
Mm.
like vacation I've taken where I actually shut the phone off for, you know, longer than 3 or 4 days. It
Milan's my.
actually
I mean,
a favorite thing, right?
Florence is amazing. It's one of
Uh,
my favorites.
Best steak I've ever had. For definitely the best steak I've ever had. And the crazy part is like the bottles of wine that you can actually buy at the table only cost like 20 euros. So like you're really like, how do you not do that every single time? And then you've been walking all day, so it doesn't feel like you're actually consuming enough as it is. So
Right,
it was
right.
just a great time, and it's sad to be back. But to caveat to that, I completely forgot my password logging back into work, which actually delayed me another hour to actually getting back into work on Monday.
Well, that I think that's indicative of one, a needed vacation, but two, a good vacation. So,
Yeah, that's
uh,
what everyone was telling me at least.
right, right. Well, tell us a little bit. What are you doing? Tell us about Emburse.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
I've been at the organization for, 10, 11 years now. I started off as a
that's an
BDR.
eternity in tech, by the way.
Yeah, I the way I like to say it is because, like, how have you been there? How have you been able to, like, maintain a career through that long at one place? I'm like, well, a lot of times it really feels like I've worked for 3 or 4 different companies along the way with different leadership. We're owned by a private equity firm and so on and so forth, so I know that a lot of people have, like, experience alongside that, but, one of the things I always, my one of my philosophies is, like, just kinda chip away, a little bit at a time. So like I always was trying to have this idea of like no matter what there is, I can always learn a little bit more and learn a little bit more. And that's always kept me satiated to kind of keep going and
Hmm.
been able to just navigate the changes over the years and continue to develop my career alongside that. So definitely fortunate in that case where I've been
Yeah,
able to have this longevity at the same place. But um definitely had to, maintain the tools, keep them sharp, and, not give up for anything, like, just every single day, like, you gotta do the work.
right, right. Yeah. What's Emburse? What are you guys doing? Tell
Yeah,
me a
no,
little bit
good
about.
good point. I was talking a little bit about that. So, we are a financial technologies firm where we help organizations with spend management, expense management, travel, things along those lines. We even have a reshop tool for travel bookings where we'll automatically rebook your flights at a lower rate if they're available and things along those lines. So really just a financial tech company looking to help organizations spend their money more efficiently, which obviously in this kind of times is very, very important. Our organization has also been a growing one, and we've maintained that level of growth. So we've definitely seen the need in the market to continue our pace and so on and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you've seen. I mean, uh, the market, the business development world. It's big evolution since you started.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
I mean, one tool to like 27,000 different texts we're trying to master.
yeah. What? I mean, that's. I mean, going from what were you like a sales loft or something like that back then? That's all you need to worry about. To what's it expanded to? What are you guys using? What's kind of the
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, back to start, I think the first implementation of really adopting these type of technologies was definitely SalesLoft. We've switched since moved to Outreach, but same flavor, different
Is one
interface.
green or is one purple? I mean, it's
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much, I mean, that's the way I kind of look at it. We're having used both now, like it's
Mhm,
really just interchangeable, but like having to master that, not only master Zoom info, demand base, any sort of we're using User Gems, which I know User Gems was a member of the podcast a couple weeks back, and so on.
mhm.
So, just it's not just that; it's just the amount of data that's now thrown at the SDRs on a daily basis. Like it's so hard for them to kind of keep up and correlate all that information in a really singular, unique way that allows them to understand that this is my top priority. So, well, our biggest challenge now is making that part easier and looking for different ways of bubbling up that interest and that insight without them having to go look for it. And like I think that's the sole biggest challenge that like we're all experiencing because we've all getting this data. We're getting this, contact level intent data now.
Mhm.
And like how do we best utilize that and not over AI it?
Right. So a couple things I wanna unpack there.
Yeah, sure.
One, it seems like there is the question I have is, does all of these tools and technologies, do these aid or distract the SDR? Um, I mean, even back in the day when it was just SalesLoft, people still had quote paralysis by analysis, right? Like it
Yeah.
was still that was thing. And they were looking up what like LinkedIn. So that's I guess one of the first places I want to go, and then I've got a follow another question after that.
Yeah. So I definitely think that there's a lot of analysis by paralysis, right? Like you're looking to find the best data and the data is never good. Right. So first off, you're kind of shorthanded when you go looking. And then how do you make sense of data that's bad and how do I prioritize that data? Some of the things we've worked on in the past is like just having prioritization or prioritize reports and ways we show things up in Salesforce. That way we have just dedicated things that we check on a daily basis. So like I call them hot reports, right? You check your hot
Mhm,
reports 2 to 3 times a day to make sure anything that's coming in or anybody's clicking on something that we're paying attention, we're making
mhm,
sure it being intentional with, putting them into sequences and ensuring that we're actually making dials to these people. Cause like you know, email is great, but you need to use other things alongside it in order to actually get the response and get the level of interaction you want.
mhm, mhm. You mentioned as well, the risk of quote over AIing
Yeah.
something. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So like I think we all know AI is here. AI is here to stay. It's just a matter of figuring out what's the best way to utilize AI. And I think there's some over indexing happening as there is with any new technology that there is in any space, right? Where we're trying to potentially replace human beings. And I don't think that's necessarily going to ever take over. I think what we're going to need to be able to do is augment these bots or these agents to make our SDRs or make our teams faster, more intelligent, and are able to see things around the corner that they might not realize yet.
Mhm,
And it's going to be the people that are faster to understanding that are really going to stand out in the market and in the space
mhm.
and really be able to grow those teams and grow their business. That's really going to show up in the next probably 5 to 10 years.
So what are you seeing in terms of just not to harp on the negative, but when
Sure.
you see the
Yeah,
over
just everybody
AIing,
talking about it, right? Like it's
yeah.
like you look on LinkedIn, you looked on Instagram, you're scrolling, it's AI, 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 AI. Like I saw a meme video that was literally the entire meme was the person saying AI a bunch of times over and over and over again. And it's like they're just in a courtroom saying AI, and it's like these are just a bunch of bots. I'm like, yes, so you're going to need a human to make sure it doesn't go awry.
Right.
Right? So, like, there's still gonna be people that are need to understand how it all works, and we just need to get all a little bit more efficient ourselves, and I think that's what's happening, right? I think we might not necessarily be going for cuts or anything like that, but we might be in a position where we're like, "Hey, let's see how much more we can do with what we have currently before we start actually going out and spending and spending and spending again."
Sure, sure. What are the ways, you've enabled your teams? with AI?
Yeah, so I'm part of what we're calling internally the AI Avengers. We're essentially we have been assigned a team from a company we're working with to help sort of facilitate the building of our own internal like stack of AI technology. Right now, one of the things we're working on, because I think as we grow and we try to do more with less, we have a rather large team to headcount ratio. So I have two managers. One of them has 12 on the headcount. One of them has 13. Very
Mhm,
large teams, right?
mhm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's really hard to coach when you're trying to give your time to 2 or 3 that may need the really, really deep coaching environment, and then you're ignoring the rest of the team, and I'm not saying, like, everybody can do that, but, like, there's definitely a prioritization and a juggling that takes effect, so what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to build and potentially is, and we've seen some good progress is building, agents to provide, like, calling scorecards for how a call particularly went. So SDR makes a call, has books a meeting, 2 hours later, they get a scorecard of how that call went, what they can work on, and so on and so forth. It's actually tuned to our own methodology, our own
Mhm,
understanding of how we want the process to go. And then obviously tweak that agent and make that better. And then that way it kind of produces this foundation of coaching that's always
mhm,
happening. It's passive, right?
mhm,
And
right,
then
right.
the application for that data then at that point is like, all right, well, now we can tweak how we do things or how we say things, right? There's a lot more that you could actually build that out for, whether it's either SDR or even on the customer success side.
Yeah, yeah, I think, it reminds me of, like, back when I was an SDR or when, you're cold calling, you've got your pitch written out. Like, here's my talk track literally written out on a piece of paper and then going in like, "All right, okay, after that one, let's scratch out that word and do that." But
Yeah.
now it's doing it kind of electronically, like, "Hey, let's fine tune everything."
Yeah, to just
Fine
give it
tune.
this better understanding of how we'd like it to see or how we'd like it to view our SDRs and how the coaching, and then we can actually get a really good solid model of, hey, maybe we don't have to listen to so many calls all the time. Maybe we can focus on the, hey, how do we actually break into accounts? How can we actually look at the data to be more intentional about it, right? To actually get into the nitty grittiness of the day to day
Mhm,
and spend
mhm.
time focused on the difficult stuff.
So you mentioned, we're talking about data,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of data, when it comes to, you know, sales development, business development. Um, what is the data that you like to kind of focus on? Is it the activity metrics? Is it just, hey, all I care about is the end number and the number they get to at the end? What do you focus on?
Yeah. So like I think it's always good to have a baseline of activity metrics, right? Especially if you're thinking about managing up as a manager or director. No matter what the executives C-level suite, they're always going to want to see that activity is happening. Right. So
Mhm,
you have to
mhm,
keep a baseline. Do I read into the numbers? Of course, right? Like I want to know whether we have a better connection rate, conversion rate, conversation rate. I want all those numbers to line up with kind of where we are as best practice. Does it happen 100% of the time? No. But ultimately like what I'm looking at is are we booking the meetings and are they converting? Right?
mhm,
What's our
mhm,
conversion percentage look like? Are we converting our for us, it's pre-qualified opportunities or pre-ops is what we call them. And does it convert to a discovery stage? Right.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
that's how the stage one works for us.
Right.
So it's how is that converting? Obviously different segments and different sizes of those segments are going to convert at different paces, but are we within best practice standards and can we improve those marks? And for the most part, we've always been kind of within those standards. And we usually will, on a cyclical basis, kind of look back and, I mean, like every quarter and review what those kind of conversions rates and make any adjustments we may need to. Hey, we might need to make some enablement here based off of our qualification not being great. They're not actually making it past, this stage further down the funnel. So we might want to think about how we actually address it up front before we get it further down.
I mean, it reminds me a lot of, talking about AI, like reinforcement learning, where it's like, hey,
Yeah.
let's take this and adjust it. Tell me, as far as how do you do that? How do you level up your team? Like, what are the things that you're kind of the levers you're pulling and the buttons you're pushing to level up the team the way you do?
Y Yeah, this one has taken a very long time to get it to this point of Where it's at today. I've been in leadership in SDR since March of 2020. So we're talking a little over 5 years, right?
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
already over six now. Anyway, that's not here or there. But
Yeah.
gone through kind of a tumultuous time with COVID, right? Coming out of that,
Mhm, mhm,
there was kind of the still buzz and sass where a lot of money was still going into it through COVID, and teams were expanding and everything like that. So a lot of it has been providing an environment that shows teams how to win, right? Like one of the big things for me is I wasn't an account executive, so I have done the job that they want. So that
mhm,
instantly coming onto the team made me credible from that point of view. And then I think I do have a unique way of being able to read a situation, just from a management perspective from a human approach, right? To where I can make it seem like I'm not out to get anybody for any radical candor moment that I might have. I can make it seem like and I really genuine am, not making it seem, but am on their side. So it really
mhm,
just comes from building an atmosphere of trust
mhm,
and having everybody be able to rely on everybody else, not just like I'm not the only person you can come to for questions. My other manager
mhm.
you can go to them, you can go to them. I am not going to worry if you go to somebody else to ask a question and why you
Right.
didn't come to me. Like, I don't care. Get the answer as fast as possible. That actually helps me because then I'm not answering the question and you're getting the answer faster. Like, I'm going to be in meetings all day. It's like I would love to answer all the questions, but it's just not a realistic thing. So, a little bit of just creating a culture and atmosphere. And I have terrific managers that have helped with that. Also, just building enablement structure, like a
Mhm,
continuous enablement basis. We've built certifications. We've built enablement decks. I think we were talking earlier about SDRing 101. You had something
mhm.
similar along those lines.
Right, right. Yeah, yep, yep.
Like we have an SDR 101, 201, 301 series where we're going over the different ways of
Ooh,
prospect.
go upper division.
Oh, we go upper division. Like, yeah, SDRing 101 is just kind of the basics. Understand what an SDR does. I like my big thing is like it brings order to chaos, right? You
Mhm,
get all this data, you got to make sense of it. But when you get into 201, it's like, all right, do you understand the sales org? Do you understand how we go to market? And do you understand the motions that we're actually running at Emburse? So like just kind of the basic secondary things, but the things that are important to just being able to do the job. And then three is where you get into more your outbound prospecting, and so on and so forth. I'm building out more as we go, but
mhm,
it's
mhm.
one of those things where every year I seem to chip away a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and be able to level the team up a little bit more just based off this foundational trainings that we've been able to produce and stick to over the years.
How often do you do enablement sessions with your team?
Weekly.
Yeah,
Yeah. I have a manager that runs weekly enablement for the entire team. He has a knack
mhm,
for coaching and training. One of my other managers has more of a knack for the data driven understanding of the business. So the
yeah.
two of them together is a
Oh,
real
that's great.
real win. Right. So one can advise what we need to do as far as enablement, the other can train it. And then I can give my context as to what we've seen in the past and how we've won.
Yeah, no, that's a great team to have, you
Yeah.
know? It's like, having your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator right there to, like, take it down. You'd mentioned, in terms of enablement and technology enablement, you'd mentioned that, you're using AI to, do some of the some of some of that, s kind of the seeing what could be done better, the kind of the
Yeah.
coaching side of stuff. What are some other uses that you're kinda seeing? I mean, this is really like I realize it's the meme AI, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah. No,
there's a
like,
reason why as well.
because everybody's trying to experiment and see what they can do, right? Like, I
Mhm,
think there are certain little like workflows that you can build just to make, hey, somebody filled out this form that you otherwise would have no notification of, right?
mhm,
Like, there's
mhm.
simple little things like that. But on the other side, um, the team is building out these bots through either Claude or through Gem or through ChatGPT, where like, hey, I'm giving you my transcript for our call. Give me the qualification notes that I need to write into Salesforce in the way that I want it written into Salesforce.
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And building a bot that allows everybody to use that so they don't have to continue to transcribe notes from one thing to another. So those type of things are very prevalent, I would say, like just small individual bots. What we're really getting into now that we've had a little bit more, I would say, attention put on the deeper build, like the coaching bots that
mhm,
and agents that we're working on. They're going to our organization is putting a little bit more time and effort and thought to giving us funding for how we want to actually explore that, and that hasn't
mhm,
happened yet, but that's in the next stages. So part of my answer is we're still exploring,
mhm.
and the other part is we've noticed enough and we've been smart enough to like understand what's possible, and now we just need to go make it happen through the right channels.
Sure, sure,
Got to get the
absolutely.
keys to the castle for all the APIs, right?
Right, yep, absolutely, and get someone feeling comfortable, like, I think, I saw an article where they said the great thing in Europe is, speaking of, Europe and Italy, is, the Europeans have skipped our phase in AI, they're not even experimenting with everything, everything's just going, and I thought, "What a tragedy,"
Yeah.
because I think there is so much value in getting into AI and experimenting with it, and, there's so much value in, I wonder, could I do this? And it might be something that's totally ridiculous, but you're using it that you can then take that knowledge that you gain and apply it to.
Well, yeah, you're using it conceptually to apply it to things that you otherwise there's no way I could have thought of this huge thing and then made this think about it in that way.
Right, yes, exactly. Um, but that speaks to, part of that, is speaks to culture as well. And I found when running, SDR teams, the culture is such an important part. Usually you've got younger reps
Yep.
and, can be they're high emotions. Um,
Sometimes you find yourself not only playing the coach, but also the therapist.
yeah, yeah, and then within the organization, I mean, I've seen this a lot of times that, like, the sales team's, upset because, you're only sending them garbage, and the marketing team might be upset because you're not working all the leads they send over, and it's like, they're both fighting, and you're kinda so,
One of those sounds data driven, the other one sounds speculative.
it's, you got the data driven, but I mean, it's right, talk to me about building a culture on your team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously starts with the top, right? I think you have to in order to build the culture you want, and the type of culture that I want is one where anybody has the ability to make it to the next step in their career, right? We're all here to help
Mhm,
each other out. If somebody has a question on that, nobody better have everybody better help them get along the way, right? So, one of the things that I try to instill right off the bat is the fact that if you are not curious and asking questions right up front, I'm going to be very worried about how the next 3 months are going to go.
mhm,
So
mhm.
I try to prompt early that I need to see you asking questions, because if I don't know that you're trying to understand the concept of everything that's going on, and you're able to basically retort what's been going on, right? We're going to have a hard time later on when we get to the more difficult stuff of like, hey, how do you find intent and demand base?
Right, right. Yeah.
So I think, part of that, I do set a pretty good standard right off the bat. Anybody that comes into the organization, I give them, myself and whichever manager they're hired by, we'll sit on a call and have this is day one talks. Here are our expectations right off the bat. And I'm like, listen, I'm here for you. I'm here to make you be the best version of yourself that you can be while you are here. My expectation while you are here is that you work for me. You'll do the things that we ask you to do. Aside from that, I'm not a micromanager. We're adults. You're allowed to, have fun, have a good time. You're allowed to take time off.
What?
Please do that. Right. Like,
Right.
I keep seeing these millennial manager memes, but I'm like, they're 100% correct. Like, take time off. I knew
Sure.
plenty of people older than us that didn't do that, and they're probably regretting it now. But at the same point, I want to make sure that they feel that they are in a trusting environment, that somebody's not going to, try to come over the top and try to destroy their career or make things worse for them. ultimately. I think, I don't know if we can say this, but like, don't be a dick. It's kind of one of my philosophies, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
it's pretty much like nobody is out to get anybody else, and trying to instill that mindset can be challenging, but very rewarding once you achieve it.
Think about how much better life would be if that was just a general blanket rule that
I
everybody
know.
followed. Like,
It's I said it earlier today. I was like, it's like my unwritten rule, just don't be a dick.
right,
And
right.
and I think that's just a general, like, philosophy in life. Sure, we could put it more eloquently, but saying it like that is extremely, like, on point.
Listen, the only drawback to that is like Philadelphia fans at sporting events would be just completely quiet.
That is
So,
true. I guess we can let Philadelphia fans have that.
well, we covered a ton. Like we were like flying all over the place today. I think probably like kind of finish things up a little bit. Any like words of advice as especially like in go to market, but in a sales development, what are you seeing right now? What's kind of leave them with like Whitney's words of advice,
Um,
Whitney's words of wisdom.
yeah,
How did I miss that?
I don't know. It was kinda right there for you to, like, take right there.
I know.
Um So from my point, like, I think the big thing, don't be a dick, right? I'm a huge proponent of like Ted Lasso. So I
Hmm.
think we've all seen the show. Like, I like that type of positivity, and I might not be the most positive person, but like in my head, I try to think that way. So like, any SDRs out there that have managers that are similar or are getting into an environment where, they're trying to figure out their career. Not everybody's out to get you. People
Hmm.
are there generally to help you, and you have time. My God, you have time. I didn't start as an SDR until I was 26, and that was some later than a lot of SDRs do.
Hmm.
And by the time I was 35, 36, I was a director.
It's not like a Formula One driver that like if you're not driving
Yeah.
go karts by age 5, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well,
there's so much time to get there, and there's so much time to figure it out, especially in the early years. Like, make mistakes, like, go try things out. Sales definitely isn't for everybody. I love it because it gives me a lot of freedom to be able to do my thing, and coach people.
hmm,
I
hmm.
can't say that the money doesn't help alongside that, like, we're all in sales in some way, shape, or form, right? But, like, at
Right,
the
right.
same time, I get to do my thing in a high performance culture and help people along the way. And, like, I was just doing the tally 'cause, we were at President's Club in Croatia, which is why I was in Europe. And our CRO had asked, like, just how many people was it that how many people through the years, and I did the tally. It was 24 had moved on to a next role, whether it be AE,
Hmm.
solutions consulting, RevOps, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And like, the impact of that is far more than anything else that I'll do on a day-to-day basis. So like, that's the why probably more for me than anything else. But like, everything else is really nice that comes along with it.
Well, Whitney, if they got questions about anything you're doing or want to reach out, what's the best way to connect with you?
Probably LinkedIn. LinkedIn's going to be the easiest way. Whitney Lofgren. Probably the only dude with that name. So I work at Emburse,
We'll make sure we put a link to your LinkedIn URL in the description.
and I
And
am hiring. So if by the time this airs and I'm still looking, please reach out.
awesome, awesome. Well, thank you, Whitney. Appreciate you taking the time. This has been great. Look forward to checking back in, and next time, we'll hear the stories of Croatia. So
Cool.
rather than Italy. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.